This week on the Ants Nest, the Jackies fly international. 2 Jack Jumpers dominate on the international stage. Plus, we fly in an international co-host. This is the Tasmanian Takeover. March on, Jackies.
These Jack Jumpers, they just never say die.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ants Nest. This is not Berto. You can tell by my Tassie twang that Berto won't be joining us this week. He is on a business trip in Sydney, so you're going to have to put up with the twang of JD this week. But that's okay because we've got a very, very special guest to go through everything Jack Jumpers this week. And I'd like to welcome Sweden's #1 Jack Jumpers fan and bets.com.au sports editor and match predictor, Jez Darke. Welcome back to the show, mate. It's been a long time.
It's been way too long. I've been having withdrawals actually since you boys have taken the reins from the basketball fix, and you guys are doing an awesome job. Like it's an honor for me to be here. I know I don't have the charm or the looks that Berto brings to the show, but I'll do my best.
I tell you what, you definitely take up a lot less of the little box, so it's nice to be able to see the background. I know Bert will be watching. He won't appreciate that at all.
Yeah, I had a shave just to make sure you could see everything. I didn't want, Berto to get jealous that I had a better beard than what he did. So.
Yeah, look, and I know he had a fresh cut this week. He went to his mate down in Kingston and had a bit of a trim for his trip up to. He's in Sydney at the moment, so he's going to still be doing all the editing for the show. And no doubt he'll probably release something on the Instagram to rebut any sledges that we've got coming his way. But
there'll be a few.
There will absolutely be a few, Berto. I know you listen. All right, this is the new format of the Tassie Takeover. We listened to the feedback of the fans, and they wanted shorter, sharper episodes that were more player focused. So what we've done is we've split them in half. We do a preview and a review episode every week, and this is our first ever preview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's going well. The numbers rose up last week, so. That was a good sign. So what I'd like to do for this episode to start our preview episode is do a review on how the Jack Jumpers went.
We're going to start our preview with a review. Well done.
With a review, 100%. So we were lucky enough to have the Boomers back at My State Arena this week for the first time since 2006. Final score was 84-79. Australia winning in a nail biter, and we had a couple of Jack Jumpers playing, Josh Bannon and Ben Eyre. How did you see their games, mate?
Look, like I think in both of their games, but say especially the one in Tasmania. Well, it was. Ben Eyre got his chances, but I think he come on with a whole lot of energy, and I think he was used there. Come out, take your shots, and it just didn't sort of drop for him. He went 0 from 3 but the energy was there, and he was a pest, and he lifted the Australians in that way despite sort of missing his shots. Then when it comes to Bannon, he was a beast. Like Bannon's been a beast all year. He's playing his best basketball, in my opinion. And it showed with him getting some good minutes in that first game, playing 10 minutes, going 3 from 4, went 1 from 2 from 3. So he certainly did his job as an impact player for the Boomers. So, yeah, it was great to see. And you certainly heard the crowd in the broadcast whenever any of the Jackies boys got their hands on the ball. So it was great.
They didn't look out of place at all. What I really liked was Ben Eyre just being a proper pest, even at international level. I think when you watch these representative games, you wanna see the boys just do well and look like they're not overawed by the occasion. And in the last two games, unfortunately, there's been another game over in New Zealand. I don't know if you've seen the highlights for that one, but but Dave Hickley, if you're the commentator, I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. Like crazy that it was both games. Like I watched both games, and you're listening to the broadcast. Like, how does someone not correct that? Dave O'Hickley was the man of the moment in both of those games, and he didn't nail it.
The commentator definitely didn't nail it, but Dave O'Hickey did nail a buzzer beater right at the end.
Yeah.
Man, I hope in the next game, I don't know if there's another game against the New Zealanders, but I hope if that commentator comes back, someone pulls him aside and goes, mate, you've got one job, and it's today to play.
Yeah. Especially the guy that broke the game open in the first one and the second, you know. But anyway.
Yeah, but both Josh and Ben had drastically reduced minutes in the second game. Ben Eyre slotted a very nice 3-pointer at one stage and looked pretty important in the 7 minutes he was on. And unfortunately, Josh only got the 4 minutes in the second game and could only manage a rebound. So,
well, I think that was just because of the dominance of the tall blacks bigs. Like it just defensively, you saw Pinder's minutes go up from sort of, I think, just around the 20-minute mark up to 27 in the second game, because he was the one that made the difference for the Australians when he come on in the first game. So I think it was just more of a matchup thing more than a performance thing, because Bannon was phenomenal in the 10 minutes he played in the first game. And it was just one of those things where I think defensively was better that Pinder and his size and aggression was there in the paint, because that's where Australia were getting beat.
100%. Look, it was good to watch a bit of international basketball. What did you make of the? Obviously, you watch the NBL and it's all party time. It's fireworks. It's music playing nonstop. How did you find more the international stage, where it's a bit more traditional and it sounds a little bit more like a high school gym?
Yeah, well, it is a little bit in these sort of lower level, like World Cup qualifier type games, even sort of almost until you get to the big stage when it is the actual World Cup. You see that there's sort of, I don't know, there's less fans until you sort of get there, or until those crunch games where it's like must win. So yeah, the budget's got to be there's not as much money in Asian qualifying World Cup games. So yeah, I understand why it's there, but yeah, it is what it is. Maybe it's good for the boys because you can just sort of focus straight on playing basketball. And they were two awesome games. And kudos to New Zealand while we're there, of how well they played. They pushed the Aussies, to the limit in both games.
I've got a note about that actually. New Zealand are unreal like that. They're such overachievers, but you would never know it. Like there's a thing in Australia about like we are overachievers for our population. You look at the medals in the Olympics per capita, and we are by far the best sporting nation in the world, and we tend to let people know about it, you know. But then you got the Kiwis who are always there and thereabouts they're always up there in the sailing and the rowing and now the Tall Blacks. Just humble overachievers is what I've got here.
Yeah, 100%. Like the sports that they really focus on, they're incredible at. So, like you said, and it's such a wide range. They're obviously premium in rugby, but then you're starting to get like into the sailing, and then even you look at in netball in the women's. So, and now basketball starting to be a force. They've been getting better and better, and you see what they do. They push. Obviously, it's not the best, say, starting 10 for Australia that we could put on the court, but with still some very decent players that are going to be around there when the World Cup comes around, and they pushed us to the limit. So yeah, they're doing a great job in the sporting world. I don't like giving the Kiwis this much credit. We need to move on.
Do you know what? I spent 9 weeks living in New Zealand about 12, 15 years ago, and funnily enough, they know all the Tasmania jokes and are happy to spread them as well. So regardless of the sheep jokes that they cop, they get just as back with the cousin jokes the other way. It's funny timing, but the JackJumpers, we're going to stay on New Zealand because we have got a big game coming up against the New Zealand Breakers.
Easy segue, that one, JD.
Easy segue. We can finally do our preview in the preview episode. So let's get into it.
We got there after 10 minutes.
Right on time as well on my brand new run sheet.
Yeah.
Look, so in these segments, we're going to cover a couple of different topics. We'll talk about the last game we played, a player to watch, a player who needs to lift, the key matchups, and at the end, we'll make a bold prediction, and then we'll let the listeners on their way after that. Short, sharp, quick, punchy episodes. That's what we like here.
Lovely.
On the Ants Nest. So
I got nothing important to say anyway, so we're good.
Good. Just a space filler at this stage.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
To break up the awkward silences. Last time we played, it was back in October. It's quite a while, almost 2 months ago at Spark Arena. Final score 82-65. The JackJumpers lost. This was our first game after the big comeback win over the Kings, you might remember, where Nick Marshall just iced his veins, nailed it.
What a moment.
And then a couple of days later, we make the trip over the Tasman and we put up an all-time stinker. What do you remember from this game, mate?
Yeah, like it was obviously coming off such a high that it was that comeback win. You know, one of the greatest comebacks in you would say JackJumpers regular season history, and a huge moment for Nick Marshall, and everyone gets around it. It's hard, I think, 2 days later then to reset from those moments. I think you see that this type of mistake happen often when you're right at the top of the mountain, and then you've got to sort of try and stay up there, especially coming up against a team at that point. I think we sort of would have felt that it was going to be an easier win, especially coming off beating the Sydney Kings. So we were right in sort of that peak of our form of the season. So you come in a little bit more relaxed. You've got all that adrenaline still pumping, and I think you can't miscount even what it is to sort of go from, say, Tasmania in 2 days to then go and play against New Zealand. These sort of short back-to-back 2-day rest games are tough. Like you're flying late, you're coming in late. You've been maybe celebrating a little bit in some way, shape, or form after that first win. So I think that had a lot to do with it. And if you sort of look at the numbers, sort of what we do a lot when we're doing our betting predictions and stuff like that, you put your head in there, and it was a really bad shooting performance from the JackJumpers. And you could say that directly correlates to the moment and the situation that they were in. Shooting at 38.7 from the field. They went 26.3 from three in that game against the Breakers. So, yeah, it was a bit of a tough performance. They even took 7 shots less than their season average in that game as well. So there was less shooting and really inaccurate, struggling to find their shooting lanes and opportunities. And then when they got their opportunities, they were missing or having to force shots because they couldn't sort of get there against a team that's not maybe necessarily known to be super defensive. But the Breakers do have those moments. They've been sort of up and down. They can be a really, really good, strong team and a hard unit to play against. And then some games they fall off the wagon as well. And that's why they're sort of sitting below us on the table.
They've got a couple of monsters who took us to town as well. I seem to remember Davidson from them just having an absolute field day. That guy can basically jump. He jumps so high, his head is above the ring. Yeah. And he just swings around on it. He's unreal. And I remember him just making us look silly at times.
You watch the highlight packages. They went hard at the rim as well. They played aggressive. And like if you just sort of scroll your way through the highlights, you can see that a lot of their points were from under the rim. They were coming in and driving, and we just didn't have the energy maybe or to defend that well.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the box score, and Big Mags was the only one who really had a good game, and he top scored with 14, which is not enough when you haven't got JC and Milton running around and 3 or 4 players on the team who are going to score, in
that's
those
right.
teams. And at that time we were relying pretty heavily on Bryce Hamilton, which brings us to our next section, the player to watch. And I think Bryce Hamilton is due for a big game. His last 2 games, 22 points against Sydney, 13 points against Perth. Both of those games have been David Johnson's return games. And I think as time goes on, Bryce Magic, I like to call him, will start to work out what it's like to play with DJ. And it's not out of the possibility to expect, the both of them to sort of average over 20 a game together, which is just so exciting. It's something we've never had as Jack Jumper supporters. How have you seen Bryce's introduction to the NBL this year?
Yeah, it's been fantastic, but you notice the games when he's matched up well by the opposition defensively because, and especially like you said, we haven't really had that secondary scorer. It's the typical Jack Jumpers problem. Even when it was Milt and Crawford, it was like one guy was hot, one guy wasn't. When they both were hot, we were unstoppable. And now we're trying to just find that new combination again. He hasn't been able to have that because obviously David Johnson was there and he's supposed to be that secondary scorer. So it is really exciting times. And I think we saw what happened. When was the last time we put 100 on? And we did that last game when both of those guys, David Johnson and Hamilton, were on. So I think it is really, 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 really exciting because I think Johnson can have the potential to unlock Hamilton, like you said, even more than what he's had to do. When he has a good defensive matchup, that's beneficial to him. He puts up points, but if there's a good key defender on him, he can struggle because they know there's not much scoring coming from anywhere else. Maybe Bannon has been sort of the most consistent scorer otherwise. So, but it's definitely sort of on that perimeter. They've been able to defend that quite well if he comes up against some good defensive teams. So hopefully, I think with Johnson coming into the team, we saw what happened last game. It's exciting because we want to see we need more points, and now we've got the opportunity to do it.
And we've got the scorers, right? So you've got Hamilton, Johnson, and Ben Eyre, all who are very, very good 3-point shooters. Yeah. You've got Bannon, who just sits in the paint and just drops it in for fun. He's good for your double every game. And then if we can get Mag some continuity at the other end, just monstering people and punting the ball into the crowd every time an opposition player gets close to the rim. Well, I think we're in for a really good second half of the year.
Needs to be.
You've got a player to watch yourself. You want to go through?
Yeah, like I'm all over this performance, like we were just talking about, really, of David Johnson and seeing what he's going to bring and how he, one side of the thing, unlocking Hamilton, but also unlocking himself. I think in his first game against Perth, he scored 3 points. He took 4 shots. But then you look at the game against Sydney, took 12 shots. And I think 8 of those were from the 3-point line. He's dropped 30% of those, which is, good enough. And it just sort of, I think seeing him develop now on the offensive side of things and what that's going to unlock for the Jack Jumpers is huge. And then also how he fits into the defensive system as well and making sure that we can sort of lock down more than just say one key scorer on the opposite side, because I sort of feel that's had been the problem there when we went on that losing streak at home. Our defense sort of fell off a little bit. Maybe with the experience of Johnson in that structure is going to help us at both ends of the court.
What I like about Johnson is he's got that Scott Pendlebury-like action where everything seems to slow down around him, and he just you might know better than me about how basketball players are able to just slow down time when they've got the ball. But David Johnson's definitely got it, and sometimes he gets himself into these positions, and there's no one even close to him. And I can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah, 100%. But it's going to be a really good matchup, and seeing where these sort of 3-point shooters like Ben Ayre also fit in, because New Zealand have been good against the three. That's their sort of best defensive category. They rank first in the NBL in opposition 3-point percentage. So let's see how our guys go. We hope the Ben Ayre confidence comes in and he can start nailing some shots. Johnson nails some shots. Hamilton, of course. So it's going to be a good matchup. I'm excited, but we need to get this first win and get our season back on track.
There is one name who I think has a bit of improvement in them, and we're going to move on to our who needs to lift segment now. And when I was looking at this today, one name popped into my mind, and it hurt my heart a little bit because I love him as a bloke, but I think there's more in him, and this is Tassie Tiger Campbell. He is influential to games when he's on, but he does have a tendency to go missing sometimes. And I think if we can get him up and running, again, the opposition are just not going to know what to do. Last 5 games, he's gotten 5 points, 7 points, a 20-point game against Adelaide, which was blistering, and he was easily best on court there, and had a 7-point and an 8-point turnaround ever since. How have you seen Tiger's addition to the side?
Yeah, it's been a little bit up and down. I was also red hot on him when at the start of the season. I was expecting massive things. But you sort of have a look at his game, and I think, I don't know, everything for me comes down to, like doubling back again on what happened with David Johnson. You've got a plan, you've got 3 guys that are going to fit together, and then one goes down for such a long period of time. You've got to change things up, and it affects the dynamics of the team. But I think now we need to just sort of see him control the offense. I think without being on the inside, I feel that's where he fits in best. You want to unlock Johnson and you want to unlock Hamilton. And I think Tiger Campbell can be that guy and start sort of maybe seeing if his assists go up a little bit more. And maybe even not just on the score sheet if you're looking at the box scores week in and week out, and more about him sort of coming down with the ball, controlling the offense, calling the right play, making the right pass at the right time to unlock the movement in the offense. And that's what you maybe want to see. And then obviously that's going to help him get free, build confidence, and then see him putting up some points as well and being a third dagger in that offense, or in that sort of 3-guard offense that we're running when we're starting our best 5.
Sure, he doesn't need to lift it that much. If he can get his games up to the 12, 15 point mark, but he's also doing 6, 7 assists a game. That's really where we need him to be at.
100%.
And it's basically he needs to go back and watch some JC reels from last year. I think that's his template. That's who we want him to be. Also, JC can recommend a really good hairstylist to get those dreadlocks under control, because JC's hair, I still dream about Jordan Crawford's.
I just heard your voice just sink a couple of octaves.
You feel that?
Oh, Crawford, I dream about Jordan Crawford. But yeah, wouldn't it be awesome to see him come out in one of these big, thick white headbands with the hair popping up at the back like a pineapple, like JC sometimes, like that'd be wicked. Get JC to autograph one that he can have, so he can have his autograph on his headband. It's the way to go.
All right, let's on that note, let's move on to the matchups, because there are some really, really interesting matchups in this game. And some New Zealand's top end is elite, and sometimes a bit like New Zealand themselves go unnoticed a bit because we've tucked them over there in the corner of the map, and they're easily forgotten about. But there are some big matchups. The first one I want to talk about is Will Magnay versus Sam Menenga, 2 just brutes who I think if we're lucky, they will just beat each other up for the full game this week. How do you see that?
Yeah, I see this as probably the most key matchup in this one because and you almost hope that Menenga's a bit worn out from his busy schedule. Played 2 games for the Tall Blacks. It had like varying minutes, but he was in there playing aggressive and was sort of a game changer for them. And then they're playing on Wednesday night against the Kings. So you hope he puts in some, 20, 30 minutes there again, and hope he's a little bit tired so Magnay can get a little bit of an upper hand, because Menenga's a game changer for New Zealand and he's physical. And I think if we can win that physical battle, make sure we're getting the boards, be able to unlock Bannon through that matchup with Magnay, so Menenga's not standing there causing trouble in the paint. I think that's where we can certainly win this game if Magnay wins that physical battle against a tired Sam Menenga, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so, because Sam Menenga, when he's not tired, is a scary, scary prospect. He nails his threes. He gets it in the paint. He dunks with that big black armband that he wears. I'm so excited to watch this matchup because Will Magnay's not in bad form himself. It's a real shame we didn't get to see him for the Boomers, but probably for the best. Probably would have
100%.
had him going to the car park afterwards.
100%. Magnay needs to not play any more minutes than he needs to play. That's the key for Magnay. Just he needs to stay on the court for the Jackies. So
that at the other end of the spectrum, or the scale, I guess you'd call it. We've got the battle of the big men at one end, and we've got what I'm branding the mosquito melee at the other, because PJC is just being PJC this year, carrying the entire team on his shoulders. But we've got a couple of pests who are going to match up pretty well on him. I think about Ben Eyre. I think about Tiger Campbell and whoever's tasked to stop PJC. That's going to be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, like obviously that's sort of a given whenever you're playing New Zealand, is how you can't sort of stop PJC. Nobody can really stop PJC. It doesn't happen very often, but you've just got to contain him a little bit, like the Bryce Cotton type of defense that you come into. You've just got to slow him down a little bit, try and stop his involvements, make him maybe pass the ball a little bit more than sort of driving to the net, and do it kind of early, because you've got to sort of get him off his game early in the piece so he doesn't cause you problems with his scoring and also his assists. So be aggressive early on PJC, and whoever it is, it didn't go so well last time. So hopefully maybe the addition of once again David Johnson being there, then whoever's got the task of trying to shut PJC down can maybe focus on that and focus on the defensive side of the ball, and then maybe the offensive side of the ball, make sure we do that job first.
Unfortunately, we don't have Ruben Tarangi to shove him in the chest and put him on his ass. This game, that they're going to be suiting up in the same colours. I wonder how those conversations in the change rooms go.
I haven't thought about that. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Would have had to do that, big brother handshake at the start of the season. Like, yeah, we're good, bro. We're good.
Yeah, no eye contact.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I hate that guy.
Let's move on. Let's make our predictions. How do you see this one playing out? Who is going to win?
I don't know. We're always biased, or I feel that we should be biased. We're a better team on the road, maybe not so much in New Zealand than you'd like to be, but we've definitely been a better team this season on the road. Hopefully have some confidence from that win. The addition of Johnson into the starting 5 should fix some of the problems we've had with the scoring. And I don't know, let's go Jackies and say that we're going to win this one and steady our season a little bit.
Look, fingers crossed, because our biggest danger for this game is Spark Arena itself. It's our Silver Dome away from home, where we've had 1 win and 6 losses at the venue, which is worse than our Silver Dome record, which is 2 wins and 10 losses. There's just something about it. Saying that, I am predicting that we're going to put that behind us and we're going to come out and I've got the Jackies by 8.
Ooh, by 8.
Yeah, by 8. I think we've got the guns. I think everything, you'll start to see everything come back together now that DJ's back, Magnay's fit and healthy. I think we're going to be just too much for them.
Lovely. I'm going to quote you on bets.com.au, mate. I'm going to be in. I'm writing the predictions for that. Obviously, after the Wednesday game, I'm going to just ride with you and say Jackies are going to win by 8. Might take that 6-10 margin there for some good value.
Do it. JD sent you. Saying that, there's a reason we don't have a betting segment on this podcast because I would lose my listeners a lot of money.
You win some, you lose some, mate.
I don't. I lose all. Jez, thank you so much for joining us again, mate. I know we've got you back in a couple of weeks. Berto's still globetrotting. Is there anything you want to plug while you're here?
No, absolutely not. I think I've just eased them in there a little bit. I'm just happy to be here, mate. It's nice to talk some basketball. We did it all last year for the basketball fix, which shifted to a different a different angle or however you want to say that politely. But it's nice to be on here. You can call me anytime.
No worries. I blame myself for the way the basketball fix went because I went and bought a JackJumpers jersey, and every time I buy a jersey, the players move on. So this time I bought a JackJumpers jersey with Duggan on the back, and the basketball fix moved on. So it's my fault.
You gotta watch your back. Maybe Duggan will move on to a different team. Maybe we also need to plug while we're here at the dead end of the show, where hopefully only the loyal listeners is the new women's team.
Of course, the Jewels. What did you think of the name?
The Jewels. I like it. If you read the story and you read the background at being the Queen Ant and the Jewel of Australia, and I love these backstories and the logo. You break down the logo and how it all fits in. It's good. It fits in. It's nice that they went down the same, trying to keep it together. So it's obviously that sort of the branding and the family of the women's and the men's working together. I think it was great.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited, and we'll make sure we set some time aside each podcast to review how the Jewels are going, especially once the Silverdome renos are done. That's going to be great. I hope they pack that out every week. I think they probably should.
And then hopefully the JackJumpers don't have to play there because they're filling it up with the women's game.
Well, if you have made it this far, please comment, like, subscribe. If you are going to comment, tell us who you've got your eye on this week. Who are you expecting to have a big game? This has been a lot of fun, Jez. As always, march on, Jackies.